Alright, so today we're going to talk about mouth coils, how to make your own. So first of all, you're going to need the stick, tissue paper, and some tape, clear tape preferably. So I'm going to take one piece of tissue paper and line it up as best as I can with the stick and begin rolling it very, very slowly and very, very carefully. Being careful to line up everything as straight as I can. And then I begin rolling. Now, this step seems very hard, but it's not so important that you get it perfect in the beginning. It's only important that you're able to tape very, very straight the next pieces. So then I put it down on the table, and then I take another piece of tissue paper and I try to line it up as best as I can, and then I tape it. Now be careful with the tape, because as you pull it out, it's going to create static electricity that attracts the paper. See that? So you got to be very, very careful. Tape everything as straight as you can, and with the overlapping tape you can bend it and stick it under the sheet. Now, if there's too much tape, it's better to cut off than to stick it under. Okay? So I repeat this process over and over and over again. Generally, I use somewhere in between 10, 12 sheets of paper, sometimes 15. But that creates a really big, bulky thing to cut, and it's difficult if you don't have the proper tools. Now by the end here, I just tape the end, and then with little pieces, and then I get a big piece and tape over everything. So now I have a stick inside a tube, and I have to take that stick out. So this case I'm going to use very gentle movements and pull it out slowly so that the paper doesn't stick to the stick. Now I'm gonna squish. See, I'm squishing it and using the pliers to cut the end. In this case, I have a very thick piece of paper. It's better if you start out with 4 or 5 sheets of paper, because it's gonna be easier to cut with normal scissors. You see here I'm using those garden pliers, and you have to try to cut with only one cut, or else it's going to be a little bit difficult to build the coil. So after you cut all the pieces, you will take a measurement of about 3/4 of the whole side. Be careful not to cut the wrong way. You have to cut it on the side. You don't cut the tube at the top. And I take the time to make it so that it's very even and very straight. Both sides have the same amount of paper on each side. And then you cut it just with one cut, with one swift move. Now you have to be very careful, because if you cut too little, it's not going to work, and if you cut too much, it's not going to work either. So about 3/4 of the way, hold it very straight and cut. So you do that with all the remaining coils. Cut them all down the middle, about 3/4 of the way. And be very careful so that when you cut them, you don't cut too little or too much. Now, in this here, you can see that it's cut all the way almost to the bottom. All of them are cut. Oops, there's one there that needs another cut. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There you go. Now, after you cut it, it's gonna be wiggly, loose, you know, look at that. Now this is the important part, because you're going to have to shape it again. You're going to bend it the other way now. You're going to squeeze it and bend it the other way. Do that to all of the coils so that it's easier to finish them off and then to build. If you need to move some paper out of the way from the center, use your fingers or use something small, and then it's easier. Now squish them, squeeze at the top, and bend. Bend all the way back. Now you see, if you cut too little, you're not going to be able to bend it back, and if you cut too much, it's going to rip down the middle. And then after you bend it, squeeze it, and then take a little bit of tape and tape one end. You see, it's soft. You're not supposed to make it very tight. And then you take another piece and tape off the other end, keeping it soft. Don't tape the top or the middle, just that little side there. Now you take another piece. This is to start the coil, to make it start off. You tape it in the middle, stick it in the middle, pull a little bit of the coil, the middle of the coil out, and fold over the tape, and it's done. It's ready for use. Now you do that, repeat the process with all the coils. Bend it in the middle, tape one side, tape the other. Take a little piece of tape down the middle and pull out the centers so that they're all ready for action. And after they're done, it's as simple as just picking one up and pulling the center, and you're done. That is how to make a mouth coil. You can mix other colors, you can make full colors, you can make a whole bunch of colors. And remember, the bigger they are, the longer they are, but it's harder to cut. So have fun. Oh, remember, you can make them longer by adding them one to the other.